Hello and welcome to It's All About You, the best show about you on the internet. I am B. Dave Walters, life strategist and spiritual coach. This is episode 20, Stress. Now, before we go too far, I want to explain a couple of things, some questions I've gotten, so I want to tell everybody real fast. Firstly, I mentioned before I was going to do that PDF about, actually it's a podcast about how to start your own business. I did that. It's up in the $5 Success Library on peacelovemoney.com. And also, every time I talk about being a life strategist or spiritual coach, you might not know what that is. So a lot of people have asked me, so let me tell you in case you don't know what I'm talking about. A coach is like, it's not a therapist, okay? I'm not a doctor, all right? What I do is I help people make sense of things, to figure out what they want and more importantly, how to get it. So I help you figure out what your real goals are, what your real passions are, what's stopping you, how to make a plan, and how to make it happen. That's what I do. So I'm kind of like, your best friend and your number one fan, and I just kind of keep gently prompting you to make the changes that you want to make. But along with that, changes come pretty fast once you have somebody to help you and help hold you accountable. As you can see from the testimonials on my website, peacelovemoney.com, or all the feedback that you see people post up on my Facebook page, MySpace, or wherever it is you might see me. So, and the other question I get a lot is why I don't charge very much for what it is that I do. You notice my coaching on peacelovemoney.com is anywhere from $25 to $150 a month, whereas most coaches charge anywhere from $400 to $1,200 a month. And so people ask, why is it so low? And the reason why that is I made a conscious choice that I would rather work with 10 people for $150 rather than one person for $1,500, especially now with the economy in most nations being what it is. Not everybody has a lot of extra money, so I wanted to be able to help the maximum number of people for the minimum amount, okay? And one other thing, I've decided I'm going to do another promotion. For the next 10 people that sign up for my gold coaching, which is all my email coaching and chat plus one Skype call a month, I'm going to give you everything that's in my $5 Success Library. I'll give it to you for free. For anybody that signs up for the platinum coaching, which is $150 a month, includes all that stuff in 2 30-minute calls a month, I'll give you everything out of the $5 Success Library and an autographed copy of my book as soon as they come back from the printers. So check it out, peacelovemoney.com. Now, let's get on with it. Since this is one of those rare occasions that I can shoot 2 videos back to back, I don't have to rush. So, how are you? How's your day? You good? Okay, sorry, people have a short attention span. Let's get to it. Like always, let me start with a quote. Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It's from Hamlet. Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Now think about this. William Shakespeare knew 500 years ago, almost 600 years ago, that, things are what you make of them. Buddha knew it 1,000 years before that, and, arguably people have known it back to the beginning of time. What that quote is talking about, and how it relates to stress, is you've probably heard me say before, that it doesn't really matter what happens to you, it matters how you react to it. If you look at the things in your life that you would describe as being stressful, if you take a step back from it, it's probably not as big a deal as you think. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things. It's very easy to just get stuck reacting to things. It's very easy to just get stuck with letting things trigger you. This especially happens in relationships. But let's just take a common example. Say you're driving down the street and somebody swips over and cuts you off while you're driving, right? Jumps in front of you. And you have to slam on the brakes, right? It's very common for people to get really upset about that. Maybe stay mad about it for the rest of the day. Yell and scream and honk and, flip them off and do all this other things. Or God forbid, try and jump back in front and cut them off again. But my question is, why? For what? Right? We've talked about this before. What you want to figure out is, what's so? That's the way they explain it in Landmark Education. If you have a chance to do the Landmark Forum, you should do it. It's great. It's what's so. When you look at a situation, what's actually happening, okay? See, when human beings process information, all of us, you see it, and then you go through a process where you delete and distort and interpret what's happening, and then you start attaching meanings to it. And it's when you start attaching meanings to it that stress becomes attached to it. Like, I'll give you an example. I have many friends that I talk to online. I have coaching clients and people of all sorts that I'm always interacting with. And as you may know also, I've got a small child. I've got a wife. People call me on the phone. I got a lot going on. And so I'll be talking to people, friends, And sometimes it might take me a few minutes to respond. It just happens. And there's some people that get really upset when it takes me more than, 5-10 minutes to respond to their chat. This isn't my professional clients, by the way. This is when I'm just talking to people. They get really mad about this. And the thing is, when that happens, the choice that person is choosing to make is that they are interpreting my lack of response as them not being important. And so they get upset about that. But again, when you look at it, what actually happened? Maybe I had a client call. Maybe I had to go feed my baby or change a diaper, which all you parents know how much fun that is. Maybe I was talking to someone else who's suicidal. You'd be shocked some of the questions I have to field on a day-to-day basis. There's a million reasons why I may not respond, up to and including maybe I fell asleep, who knows. But there's a million reasons, but out of all of those, some people choose to settle in on the one, that I'm ignoring them, and therefore I don't care about them. You see what I'm saying? This process and cycle plays out many ways, many times, in many areas of life. If there's something that's really bothering you, take a look at it and look at what's really happening. Like maybe you think your boss hates you. Okay, your boss hates you. Why? Well, he's mean to me. How? Well, he ignores me. Go on. I ask him questions and it takes him a long time to answer. Well, you can field what I just said a second ago. Or maybe I ask him for help and he won't help me. Maybe your boss thinks employees should be self-starters. Maybe your boss is busy with something else, right? Here's the thing. This is what you got to get. Everybody's dealing with something. Everybody is dealing with something. I have the honor and privilege of talking to people from all over the world, of every economic bracket, of every sex, race, religion, and creed. Everybody is dealing with something, okay? So when you run into this person, this coworker, this family member who's stressed out and being mean to you, realize that they got their own stuff they're trying to deal with. They got their own challenges. They got their own questions. They got their own concerns. They got their own fires that they're trying to fight. Like there's a quote that I really love from, I just drew a blank. Who's it from? Socrates. Be kind because everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Be kind because everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Okay? I can't believe I misquoted Socrates. Now that I think about it, it might be Pythagoras. That's going to bother me forever. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to tell you later. But the quote is still accurate. Be kind because everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. And this was like 1,000 years ago. Somebody knew this. Here's the thing. Life has always been full of challenges. But something I'm going to tell you. We live in the absolute best time in history to be alive. This is the best time to be alive. Ever. Across time, this is the best time. We have more opportunity, we have more advancement, we have more safety, more knowledge, more freedom, more peace than at any time in history. Even if you live in a culture where maybe you can't necessarily do everything you want, I think if you look back at that same culture 500 years ago, it probably was a bit worse. I know, well, my country didn't exist 500 years ago, but 400 years ago, 300 years ago, I kind of would have been a slave. So I can say for sure, I'm way ahead of where my ancestors were, right? And it's the same for you. You have more things going for you than ever before, and yet most of us choose to focus on the negative aspects of it, or choose to attach negative meanings to it. Okay? It may be that our lives are so easy, that's why we have to manufacture problems that don't actually exist. Which, that's what I'm going to talk about, the biological aspect of stress. But I'm going to go ahead and split this up for my brothers and sisters on YouTube. Everybody else, stay with me. We'll keep going.